thank you again very much. And time that we always look forward to is the, really the annual report on how the system's done, how it's impacted Walker and so forth. So thank you all for coming. Lindsey, welcome to our city. And I know you're filling in for Lance tonight, so I think we got the better of the deal. So he's not very personable. So, anyway, well, so we'll, if you want to share, I don't know if it's something, any one of the three of you wanted to kick us off here with the report. So
I'll start.
You're not going to mind us eating while you're
Gosh, no, I'm used to seeing people eat cupcakes. I'm trying to lay off on myself, though, it's just one of those things. First of all, I want to say thank you for allowing me to represent Walker on the KDL board. I love Walker, and I love KDL, so it feels really good to do that. Walker is my branch, so it's especially an honor to be here and talk about that. I also want to say thanks for thinking even about expanding the Walker branch. I was talking to a friend at Meyer the other day, and really more of an acquaintance, and she was telling me that she recently lost her daughter to cancer and left two little girls under 5. And it's been such a blessing to her to come to the Walker branch for story time. She says, I'm too old to be taking care of little kids. I don't know what to do with them all day long. But I take them to the Walker Library at least a couple weeks. And as I kind of thought back about that, another thing she says is, I really have to get there early, though, because if you don't get there early, you don't get a seat. And kind of thinking back on that, thinking, yep, that space is a little bit small. We could sure use a little bit bigger area, and I hope that we see that before too long. Last year it was all the excitement about our new bus, and obviously the bookmobile is going over wonderfully all over Kent County. It's one of those things that are just a big hooray for KDL. But then I think back to Cheryl with the two little kids and think, that big old bookmobile is a huge thing, but in her world, just being able to come to the library and sit through story time is a big thing. So I'm so glad that we have that opportunity. And again, just thanks for allowing me to represent the city of Walker on the board. I really appreciate it. Thanks for all you do.
Thank you, Ben.
Thank you for the cupcakes, as always.
Hi, folks. I'm Lindsey Dorfman. I'm the Director of Branch Services. I'd like to thank you for your time. We know how busy you are, so we're just very honored that you give us some time every year to talk to you about the Kent District Library and all that we're doing. I'm here just to give you an update on some of the great things that we've done in that we did in 2018, system-wide. At KDL, our mission is to further all people, and we work really hard to do that by connecting them to inspiring and empowering library services and resources. And today I want to highlight just some really amazing projects that we accomplished in 2018. The first of which was our the Kelloggsville branch that we opened in the Media Center at the Kelloggsville High School. So many of the residents in Kelloggsville are struggling just to get by, and it's difficult for them to get to one of our branch libraries. So we were able to open this library right in their community. To give you an example, 78% of the students in the school district come from low-income families. 74% of those students are not proficient in English, and 83% are not proficient in math. So now they have their very own library, has everything that every other KDL branches have to offer right in their school. So we're giving access to those kids. We're really proud of that partnership. The second is our bookmobile. So in October 2018, our bookmobile was delivered, and this mighty truck travels to underserved communities all over the county, connecting people to library resources. And I have a quick letter that was written by a bookmobile user. This is a mother of 2 children in the area, and she says, "I used to make up stories for my kids, but they were not very good. Now we can check out books in Spanish and bring them home and read them. I was surprised to visit the truck and see the inside and all the things that it has. It is incredible that you can walk in and feel like you're inside a library or a bookstore. I didn't have a library card before using the bookmobile, but they gave me one, and they gave my daughter one. After that, we went to visit the library right there on Michael Street, which is our Wyoming branch. I had no idea all the things that the library does and never knew that everything was free. I am so very pleased." So this is a woman who had no books to read to her children before she discovered our bookmobile. And now she visits the Wyoming branch on Michael Street and has the library and all those books and all those materials right at her fingertips. So we're extremely proud of our bookmobile and what it's opened up to the community. And then lastly, I want to talk a little bit about our programs. So at KDL, we're much more than just buildings that house books. We truly believe in offering a variety of non-traditional library services, and that includes all of our wonderful educational and entertaining programs. So last year, 300,000 people in Kent County attended a program through KDL. And so those are things like our story times that help kids get ready to read, our sit and sip programs, which are just really relaxed programs where community members can come in and have coffee and tea and discuss current events and just get to know each other. We have our teen crew programs, which teach teens important civic engagement and volunteering skills, and Summer Reading Club, which is proven to combat the summer slide. That's just a small example of all the things that we have to offer. So we're really proud of what we do, and we're really, really thankful for our partnerships with our communities and local municipalities, especially those that house library branches. So thank you for your support and all that you do, and thanks for your time. And now Craig's going to come up and talk to you about some of the great things that are going on in the branch, and then we'll be back up to answer any questions.
Good evening, everyone. I am Craig Bruno, the branch manager at the Walker location. And as Penny hit on some of the programs that we do over at Walker, I would just like to expand on that. And one of the things I'm really proud of that my staff does is building relationships with the people that come in there. They have really good rapport with people and they get to know them by name. Excuse me. One of the major favorite things we do is the programming for the children over at Walker. So much so that we have to offer 2 Monday morning story times for toddlers to help meet the demand. Like Penny hit on with her story, that room can get packed pretty quick. So I'm really proud of my youth team of Julie Ralston and Shelly Justima, who do an awesome job of creating fun programs for the public and putting on an awesome summer reading program. Our summer reading program was really well completed this year at Walker, so much so that we saw the 4th largest increase of summer reader completers in all of KDL. So out of all 19 branches, we came in 4th with a 9% increase, which was pretty stellar in terms of percentage. We always look forward to partnering with the city as we continue to improve and grow our summer carnival and tie it into the summer Standale concert series. So I'm always thankful of the support I see from the city in helping organize the carnival. The mission reads booster packs, which is books and games in a packet that patrons can check out in support of the 3rd grade reading law, has been a huge hit over at the library. When we rolled them out the first week, we had 20 packs and they were all off the shelf in the first week. So it's great to see the community respond to these resources that are for them so quickly. I just wanted to also share 2 impact stories that I have seen over the course of the year. One was a gentleman who came in to get some copies done on the copier, and we set him up with a card, and we have a military card at KDL that allows free printing and free copies. And so he was really pleased when he learned that he qualified for this as a veteran. And so much so that he then began to bring his children into the library. And he told me he was so happy we convinced him to get a library card when he came in that he's brought his kids back 10 times in the last 3 weeks with him to get DVDs and to enjoy the library. So that was a great experience. Another one was kind of more of a passive one that I had discovered. So in the kids area, we have an art cart where we put out writing activities and drawing activities. And currently we have a giant piece of paper with shapes on it, and you're supposed to color in a shape or put a design in the shape. And I walked back there as I'm doing a round in the library, and I saw that someone had written on there, "Thank you to all the KDL librarians who always make our visits so special. You know us by name, you provide writing opportunities, you help us find just the right books, you have fun toys that change." And so that was really, really nice for someone just to leave that nice little note left behind for us to discover. And these are just a couple of the examples of the impact that the library and my staff has on the community. And I'm so thankful that the city supports us and works with us to create great programs for our community. Every interaction I've had with all the departments here to pull off these programs that we do has been stellar. So I appreciate your support. Thank you.
Thank you, Craig.
And we're happy to take any questions that you folks may have this evening.
Commissioners?
So you had mentioned that the summer reading program went up 9%. Do you have any idea, did you do something differently, or was it promoted differently, or was it just?
Two things I think had a huge play this year. One, the adult prize was a summer beach towel, which
Okay.
was really popular, and we actually saw a huge increase in the amount of adult completers. We also saw an increase in teen completers from last year, and the kids decreased from last year. So I don't know if more kids went up in the teen category this year possibly, and that affected that increase. And another one was, another aspect of it, I brought in Barb DeYoung, who is now a substitute librarian, and she used to be at Byron Center, and she was known throughout KDL for promoting the summer reading program. So I scheduled her to come to Walker on days when we had really big programs to promote and do some hand selling of the program.
That's wonderful.
So I'm hoping that that also.
Well,
And
thank
she
you.
used to be here a long time ago
Yes,
when I first
true.
moved here.
Mhm.
And then I think she went to Glanville after that and to Byron, something to that effect.
Correct.
So,
Well, thank you. I also enjoy the library. I do use the cloud, and believe it or not, I do. And I love it. Thank you.
Good. It's good to hear.
Commissioners, anything else?
Yeah, I have a couple of things. So, and I just want to say I love my beach towel, and I think it's very clever that it is a beach towel. And I show all my friends, look, I got a beach towel. It has a beach scene on it.
Camouflage.
And I just want to say thank you to, I worked with Craig on developing some community resources that are now available KDL-wide, so I really appreciate how quickly that was taken up and how responsive the library's been. I was at your diversity, inclusion, and equity event earlier this spring, and so I really got to see the mission of the library and how it's becoming more of a human services place, and that we recognize that as a community center, that people come together and they really do come for support and services, and like Penny's story, for that human connection with others. So I think it's something that we really should look to leverage in Walker as a potential place for everyone to be meeting. I was also really impressed as I was looking over the reports. It seems like Walker has really moved up in almost every area, if I'm not mistaken. So it looks like a lot of good work is going on there in terms of engaging people, engaging even our cloud readers. And I'm both. Do I get counted twice? So.
Beach towel, right?
Huh?
You got that second beach towel.
No, well, I'm just wondering if I won the iPad.
Unfortunately, no. Sorry.
That's awesome.
All winners are
Well
cut.
played. Well played.
No, so thank you for all you do.
Yeah.
Yeah, and whatever we can do to support, we're here.
Thank you.
Commissioners, anything else? All right, I'll bring us home here. When you look statistically at, there's two, right, wrong, or indifferent, two areas that I kind of benchmark us towards. One would be Glanville because it's the adjoining community to us. Population difference there, but still the needs within the city, to be able to serve, I think are there. And then also look at Plainfield, just because Plainfield, even though it's a township, has a population of approximately 31,000. So, comparing those, it's a pretty close and it's a pretty active piece. When you look at those two alone, when you look at the size, the building size for Plainfield, keep in mind we have an 8,000 square foot building. The Plainfield building is 26,000. Granville is 18, and Granville had just announced their campaign for really for a new library, for the expansion of the library, to totally change that up. So that's going to go up significantly. So when you look at that, and you look at even the public computers, we have 9. Plainfield's 18. Granville has, I think it was, if I can read my chicken scratch, 19. And looking at the hours per week, we're real close there. But you can just see throughout that the challenges we have is that we have outgrown the building we have. And while you can, I want to give Commissioner Kent credit for something he said a few years ago. I've not forgotten. I think there was a lot of wisdom in the simplicity of the statement. We were talking about the Ice and Fitness Center, and he made a finger pointed to the direction. If they're not over there, they're going to be over here, pointing to the police department and the jail. And we were in the context of some young kids. And I thought there was some profound wisdom there, because that really is a true statement. And while we have a focus to the adults in the library, and love coming in there as well, we have to capture them early and get that best habit that they have of coming up there on a weekly, maybe a couple times a week basis. And I would almost argue this is that same context of, if we don't catch them here, they're going to end up in the other. So it's really important that they have that sense of place to go to and help educate themselves. So anything we can do to help, I know on behalf of the commission here, as we get further into the down the road here with a new library on campus here, the initial size estimates of it are fitting of what we need and what allows us to grow into and serve our community. So I would say that you have our unqualified support on that, and we'll help you get there one way or the other.
Excellent.
So,
Thank you.
Thank you very much. We really
Thanks for
appreciate
coming
the
tonight.
partnership and the support. Thank you.
And as always, thanks again, Penny. All right, so we are at 6:50 right now. Daryl, is there anything we want to take a stab? Discussion consent agenda items at this point? I will have, what we'll do after we do our Pledge of Allegiance and roll call, do approval of the minutes, and then I'll actually have a motion to excuse Commissioner Groders, then also have a motion to approve Mary Oversluice and Rose Cochi into the Zoning Board of Appeals. So I'll have that at the front of the meeting. Anything else? Scott, we've got you here. Is there, I guess we might be able to do this. In looking to give you some quick context for Scott's 2 items on the agenda. One is the Kinney Avenue Engineering Memo awarding this to Prine Newhoff, one, and then the second is the Walker Avenue Bridge removal, and that's a formality with an MDOT contract. So that's just needing our approval. There's really nothing else to do there. We need approval and we have to sign the agreement. So, any questions from the group from Scott? I hate to keep him a long time. Maybe I'll zone in on the Kinney Avenue Engineering Memo and contract. I'm sure everybody's had a chance to look at any questions for him, any challenges we foresee or discussion items we'll have in the 7 o'clock hour.
So that we have chosen an engineer, but we have not seen what it's going to look like or anything.
Yeah, we've done zero work since you selected Prine Newhoff or accepted our recommendation on July 22nd. So we asked them to not work until this contract was done. Now, we don't always do one of these full-scale contracts, but sometimes when we have a more difficult project, we do try to put the brakes on just a little bit and make sure that we have this in place.
So we're gonna vote on contract, but we don't know what it's gonna look like or have any.
That's correct. We're in the same situation we were a month ago.
So this is going back to the July 22nd, we approved awarding them the business for the Kinney Avenue reconstruction for that project. So this is, I would almost look at this as a formality of that agreement for them to move forward.
Correct. So after that meeting, we agreed to then go back, have the contract written, make sure that Prine and Newhoff's good with the contract, which they are, make sure the city attorney's good with it, which they were. And then that brings us to today, we're bringing the contract in. Would seem like a formality, but we have not spent a single dollar on the project yet.
No, but I guess what I'm saying is, are we gonna be spending a ton of money moving hydrants or power poles or I mean, that, some of those plans I seen, that was amazing that the money we're looking at there, and I just, if there was another way to do it, because even moving, and then you told me that the power poles would be free, but I don't think the hydrants or any water main or anything like that would be, right?
Right, nothing's changed.
Okay. Is the pavement warranty program, is that part of yours?
Yes.
So we can't adopt a policy. I asked Terrell. We can't adopt a policy and implement it all in one. That's got to be two separate.
Do you want me to take that now or wait till that point in the agenda, or?
I think we've got about 5-6 minutes yet, fire away.
Okay. The MML recommends that it be adopted with these two steps. It sounds like most other communities are doing it this way because, the MML is there for us to help make our jobs easier. There's a few other communities that have said, that's silly, I'm doing it my way. And so a couple of them have handcrafted some things to do that with one. We certainly didn't want to reinvent the wheel here. We just adopted, or we're recommending adoption of the MML resolutions. And that warranty won't really come into play very often for us because it's for projects over $2 million. And it's not just $2 million, it's $2 million in paving and directly related paving services. So we may not hit that mark for 10 more years. So we really haven't gotten into the details of this too much. When this was first discussed a few years back, I was kind of interested in using this on even some smaller projects, but after hearing how painful it's been for some of the large agencies, I think I'd prefer to take a little wait-and-see approach over the first couple of years because the guarantee part just adds a lot of money to your cost in your project.
Yeah, and this is handed down by the state, correct, that we're
Correct.
having to implement these things, and I have kind of been following the progress of the pavement warranty stuff at the state level, and I've heard a lot of less than stellar reviews of the whole process, the costs associated, and they're really not seeing thus far payout on the amount of money they're investing and having to increase the cost to do that. So this may be something that's revisited in the near future, unfortunately. But at this point, I think we're kind of boxed in because of the timeline having to take the step and approve it. So I guess that's my take on it.
Well, okay, so we take and say, okay, we're gonna adopt this and then we're gonna implement it, but doesn't for example, Prine and Newhoff have a history of mixed designs and different things that we could call out to build us the best road?
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, isn't that where we kind of turn to them, to your engineers?
I think to all of our engineers, we look to them with project specifics. We look at the traffic counts, percent trucks, all those kinds of things. We look at institutional knowledge, like are there ruts in the road because you've got a lot of heavy turning vehicles or heavy braking vehicles. All that stuff comes into play when we make a decision about a road, but we also have standard details that are kind of our fallback. And so we'll use that, and every 5 or 10 years we may adjust that because MDOT may come out with a new mix or we may learn a lot about a mix that we've been using that we don't like. So it's kind of changing all the time, but not as fast as you think. And we do look at each one individually.
Over the years, it went from round stones to crushed stones
Right.
to different things, so, okay, thank you.
Commissioners?
Sorry. Commissioners, 3 items that we'll have for Scott for 7 o'clock we have to take action on. Are there any other questions or challenges we foresee there? Otherwise, I want to cut Scott loose.
I need to stick around anyway, so there's no hurry.
Okay. I tried.
You did try, I appreciate
Just
it.
say, hey, we'll buy you dinner. It's right over there. All right.
Okay, I'll sit
Very
down.
good. Go, thank you. All right. We have a quick 2 minutes if anybody needs a bio break, beverage refill, what have you. Thing, and then I have that proclamation to take with me.
This one? You have it? Yep. Good, perfect.
You want me to get 2? 1 for you?
Come on, Scott.
Just brush my teeth.
Really?
It's okay, Scott, you can say no.
Thank you for your support.
You're part of the show.
All right, it is 7 o'clock. We'll call our meeting to order here. I'd like to ask Commissioner Glanville to deliver the invocation and pledge of allegiance, please.
Right, so we meet to serve our community, to use our resources wisely and well, to represent all members of our community fairly, to make decisions that promote the common good. We recognize our responsibility to the past and the future, and the rights and needs of both individuals and community. As trusted servants, we seek blessings on our deliberations and our efforts here today. May we act wisely and well. And with that, we start the pledge.
Okay.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to ask our clerk to please call the roll.
Mayor Carey,
Present.
Commissioner Gilbert,
Present?
Commissioner Kent,
Present.
Commissioner DeShane,
Present?
Commissioner Glanville, Commissioner Heisinger. Thank you.
I'd like to add a motion in there to approve the unexpected absence of Commissioner Groders.
I'll make that motion.
Motion Commissioner Glanville,
I'll support.
support Commissioner DeShane. Any other discussion on that? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, approval passed. And then next one is a walk-on from our zoning board interviews. earlier this evening. I'd like to make a motion, recommendation to the City Commission, and would look for a motion from there for approval. I am recommending to the City Commission that we appoint Mary Oliver Sluice and Rose Koji to the Zoning Board of Appeals. And from that, I'll look for a motion and support.
I'll make a motion.
I have a motion from Commissioner Heisinger. Do we have
I'll
support?
support.
Support from Commissioner Glanville. Any other discussion? All right. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion passed. All right. Next on the list is the approval of the August 12th, 2019 Commission meeting minutes. Look for a motion on those, if no further discussion.
Make motion?
Motion for Commissioner Gilbert. Any other discussion?
Support.
Support to Commissioner Kent. All those in favor, please say aye. 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 Those opposed? All right. Approval passed. There is no public, so no public comment on agenda items. Proclamations. I will quickly read through the Prisoner of War Missing in Action Recognition Day. I'll be delivering this to the Veterans Home on Friday, September 20th. I believe that's a Friday, September 20th, as we have always done. I'll read this quickly to you. Whereas in 1979, the United States Congress passed a resolution authorizing National Prisoners of War Missing in Action Recognition Day, and whereas we honor all American prisoners in war and express our endless gratitude for the courage and sacrifices they endured in representation of our country, and whereas we remember the incredible sacrifice of prisoners of war and those missing in action to fight for our freedoms and uphold peace and security around the world, and whereas on this day we pay tribute to our nation's prisoners of war and those who are missing in action, we stand behind our country's unwavering commitment to account for them. And now, therefore, it be resolved by the City Commission and Mayor of the City of Walker that September 20th, 2019 be designated as Prisoner of War Missing in Action Recognition Day in the City of Walker. And the last line I have in there is, on this solemn day, we ask that our community acknowledges and honors our servicemen and civilians who were prisoners of war and missing in action. With that in mind, I don't think we need a motion on that. No. So it's our proclamation. We're good there. Next on the consent agenda, we have 3 items in here. Expenditures in the amount of $3,709,203.42. We'll come back to that one. And then the Kinney Avenue Engineering Memo and Contract, and then the approval of the election adjudication software and additional tabulator that we recently discussed. So with that in mind, we have a change in the trial change, I should say, on the financial report piece, and looking for discussion feedback from the commissioners on that. And if we have none, I'm happy to open up.
Okay, I'm old school. I like it. I liked it the old way, and I like this sheet to go with it for a quick reference if there's something there. You know, I plagued Daryl and Frank, people with questions, you know, to find out, you know, hey, most of these are refunds, and is this a donation? No, it was a refund. Well, some of them were labeled refund and this one wasn't, so I asked about it, and so I like the way we've always done it in the past. And so with the GL number, the check disbursement, and so on. And this sheet here does, you know, make it, I'm sure, easier for everybody.
Oh, the key sheet?
Yes.
Yeah, I like that too. I like the key sheet.
And I think, you know, on it, so there's probably, you know, I looked down here, I didn't see the number, and it's like, well, okay, well, I found out, you know, so, it's, I guess, you know, general principles of accounting and everything, and there's a way to do it, but there's different ways to get to the end, and it's always been that way, so I guess that's probably why I like it, but I would stick to the way we've always done that.
Okay. Commissioner Heisinger?
I like the key that we had. I thought it made it easier for that, and I found the other way, the new way that we did it, a little more difficult to follow with it being organized that way. But I like the key because it added another component to it.
Okay.
I liked the new report.
Okay.
I mean, we all see things differently, and it just made more sense to me, the way it's organized, so, yeah. And of course, then the key was really nice, although a little small, but I see I got a new copy.
You have a
that's
larger
little
one
bit
now,
bigger,
correct,
So
yeah.
thank you.
That does help, yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Commissioners, any other discussion on this?
Just a comment that I think Dan is still investigating with BSNA if there's a way to get both of these meshed into one report so we can do it and have it all into one by department or the same way. So just to see if that's feasible. So more to follow on that one, but I think the key is very helpful. So it's able to get that in a little bit larger format with keeping it all on one page. So hopefully that helps.
And we don't have a meeting until the 12th, I believe, next.
September?
September
The next
9th,
one.
thank you.
Yep.
September 9th. So we've got a little time to work on that. I too, the key made a huge difference just from a reference point. Sometimes, I think I had shared at the last meeting, sometimes I do, I might not necessarily remember what the, the activity or the account was. So having that does help. The one thing I struggle with is normally our bill summary, and it's gotten incredibly detailed the last couple of years, is typically about 8 to 10 pages. We now have gone from 8 to 10 to 52, counting the code, and that one I really do struggle with. And I'd like to see what we can do with the combined report, and then we can take further steps from there. And Commissioner Groders will be here as well, so her input would be welcome on that as well. But I'm hearing a consensus, kind of a little bit of the old way, which is right now what I would prefer if we had to make a decision right now, just because I don't want to go through 52 pages as opposed to 8 to 10. But let's see what other options we might have available. So with that in mind, all we're approving then on the 3 items on the consent agenda is the expenditures in the amount of the 3.7 million that we just, number I just shared. And I think we had all the questions answered on that, correct? I think we just had one. We're good? Okay. Kinney Avenue Engineering Memo and Contract. I don't know if is there any other discussion we need to have on that one? Okay, we're good. And then the approval of the election adjudication software and additional tabulator, which we did discuss at the last meeting.
Yep. The only other thing you asked me to look into was they had the $1,800 yearly maintenance fee that takes effect in year 6. They did remove that after finally going through a couple channels.
Yeah, it's not on there now.
It's not on there,
Right.
yep. So then that total cost of the $20,180 is what we'll have to do in a budget amendment at a later date in this fiscal year.
Okay. All right, any questions or discussion around these? All right, I'll entertain a motion for approval of all 3 items then.
Make a motion?
Motion for Commissioner Gilbert. Do we have support?
Support.
Support Commissioner Heisinger. Any other discussion on that? Any of the 3 items? All right, we have motion for Commissioner Gilbert, support for Commissioner Heisinger to approve the 3 items under our consent agenda. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? All right, consent agenda passed. Next on the list is Resolution 19-533 to support Walker Avenue Bridge removal over the Coopersville Marne Railroad project. And this is, as we were discussing at the end of our committee, the whole meeting really is a formality with an MDOT contract. There's no changes to what we've already discussed on there, and it's just the formality of putting ink on paper for the agreement that we have to have with MDOT. So I'll open it up for discussion, given that context. Any questions?
I'll make a motion.
Motion from Commissioner Kent. Do we have support?
I'll support.
Support from Commissioner DeShane. Any other discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Resolution 19-533 to support the Walker Avenue Bridge removal over the Coopersville Marne Railroad project is passed. Next on the list is Resolution 19-534 to adopt the Michigan Local Agency Pavement Warranty Program. And we also have 19-535 on here. We'll have to approve both individually there, but do we have any other questions for Scott on this? I know we got a little bit to it at the end. Committee of the whole meeting. Any other discussion? I'll entertain a motion, and we'll take these one at a time for Resolution 19-534. Look for a motion and support.
I'll make that motion.
Motion from Commissioner Glanville, support.
Support.
Support Commissioner Gilbert. Any other discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Resolution 19-534 to adopt the Michigan Local Agency Pavement Warranty Program is passed. Next on the list is Resolution 19-535 to implement Michigan Local Agency Pavement Warranty Program. I'll entertain a motion there.
Make motion.
Motion Commissioner Gilbert.
Support.
Support for Commissioner Glanville. Any other discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Resolution 19-535 to implement Michigan Local Agency Pavement Warranty Program is passed. So, any other public comment? We do not have them. And then we will be making a motion. Sarah, do you have the, thank you, you're reading my mind, a cheat sheet for us to go into closed session?
Just what's on the agenda.
Okay.
That's all I was given.
Okay.
But Mr. Mayor, could we, Jeff's
Yes.
going to be joining us, so if we could wait till he gets here.
Okay. Oh, super.
Maybe we could do I told him between 7:15 and 7:30.
Okay,
I think we'd be so efficient, so.
Why don't if you want to start, then we'll start with comments your way then.
Yeah, that's fine, okay. Yeah, I'm expecting Jeff to be here shortly.
Okay.
Let's see. Speaking of Jeff, I have him scheduled for the next meeting, September 9th at 6:30, to come do an overview to the commission about Open Meetings Act, social media. There's been some question on some of that, to kind of give a high-level overview that he's done in the past. So he's available on the 9th, and I asked him to be here about 6:30, between 6:30 and 7 on the 9th to do that. I don't think we had anything else scheduled.
Not that I'm aware of. Jill will be taking minutes and be present for that meeting.
Oh, okay. So he's agreeable and available, so ask him to come in for that meeting to provide that. And then also I was able to confirm November 4th as the date for our strategic planning session, probably late afternoon, 4 to 6-ish, 4 to 7-ish. I just was able to confirm that late on Friday, so I will get that information over to Sarah, and so we can send a meeting out for commissioners and department heads.
What time and where is this?
We'll probably hold it here.
What time?
I'm not sure yet, probably late afternoon.
Okay, I'll be setting up precincts okay. Yeah.
Yep, it's the only one we had available, so that might fit in everybody's schedule, so. So that'll be on November 4th. And then just a FYI, we closed on the 510 Cummings piece last week, so we own that piece of property.
I was clapping a little bit.
That's all I have.
Sorry. It was a golf clap. All right, thank you, Darrell. Frank, anything?
The only thing that I'll let you know is in September, we'll hold the 4th open house for the northwest corner of the city, which essentially is from Leonard to 4 Mile, from around Remembrance Road to the county line. We're still working on the date on that, but we'll definitely let you folks know.
Okay.
Other than that, that's it.
Would it be safe to guess it's that the night of the planning commission?
Yeah, the 18th, but I want to confirm with Dan.
Okay.
Because there's the Michigan Planning Conference in there too.
Oh, all right.
So I don't know if McKenna's going to be available, but we'll work it out and broadcast the date.
Okay. All right. Commissioner Kent?
We're good.
Commissioner DeShane?
Yeah, I just want to say that I thought the cruise this year with the police went really well. It was very well attended with the cars, and the Sobe Meats did a great job, and their food was excellent. I always like it when KDL comes, not just because of the cupcakes either, Dan. They do such a nice job, and I like the way that they put together their reporting so that we can actually see where they've been, what they've done, and where they're in some ways where they're going. And then also the master planning that took place last week. that was very, very well attended, and I thought people truly enjoy being part of this process, and I'd love to see more communication get out to the masses so that we can even have a larger audience of participation. This is just so important for people to use their voices on the future of Walker, but I thought the attendance was very well. That's it.
Thank you. Commissioner Heisinger?
Last week or 2 weeks ago was the police cruise, and I thought that was a great way. It was my first time ever going. I thought it was a great job put on by Sobe Meats, a great way to connect the community. And then I also wanted to thank you guys all for writing your letters for our community engagement packets. Really appreciate that as we're getting ready to create our new resident packets. However, I didn't know if it's a possibility if we could have them reviewed to make sure that we're following our social media and communication guidelines, just to make sure we're aligned with what we've been talking about in the past.
From the communication policy?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay. All right. Commissioner Glanville?
A couple of things. I was in the traffic meeting a couple weeks ago, so just a little update on a couple of items that came up there and that I wanted to mention. As a result, we're already working on the master plan. As a result of some of the comments that were made at the Alpine open house, the first one we had, we've already done some work with MDOT to look at how we might align our signals better so that through the Alpine corridor, they're all on the same time, like the same schedule overnight as to when they end flashing and when they start flashing. So looking at how we can align those, and even moving down into Grand Rapids a little bit to make sure that that whole corridor is aligned better. Commissioner Gilbert and Commissioner Kent came to discuss potential for looking for some traffic, easing the traffic issues that we have on Alpine and where that might fit in. And we looked at some issues, some ideas from years past, and then talked a lot about how that might fit into our current master plan process. And then finally, we are still working on the Wilson and Richmond project in terms of laying the groundwork to get those lanes done on our end, on the Richmond sides. And we did submit a safety grant application for that, so stay tuned. Good meeting. Wait, I got a couple of things. Okay, that was just traffic. Hang on, let me pull this up. So I was curious about the accents we had on Alpine last week, and was there a trend there? I mean, were they kind of the same time, same place? Anything that we noticed there that might?
Accidents?
Didn't we have two?
One was on Turner.
One was Turner, though.
Excuse me.
Yep.
All right.
One Alpine.
There we go then. Never mind.
Okay.
I guess there's no trend. Following up on the vets, the proclamation we had today, I was just curious if we're planning to do anything more around that, or if it's just delivering the proclamation, if we're going to involve maybe some of our community vets in that, or what that looks like.
It's a very low-key event. It's one where pictures are not taken. Okay. Social media is not. I mean, it's extremely frowned upon. There is if you've ever been to one, and I guess being the son of a veteran, it hits home. I mean, it hits home quite a bit when you see the empty table and see the symbolism with the event that they do. So very low key. The mayor, state representative, all read their proclamations or have a designate to actually read it. But which I should bring up one other thing too on that. If there is a challenge or an issue somebody sees with a proclamation or document, please, and you're going to change something, don't just send it to the clerk. Please let me know. Not to change it, not look at anybody directly, but that has to, if I've written up a document, we shouldn't be sending it to the clerk for change for a meeting. It's kind of a no-no, so. Cool, all right, sorry, I didn't mean to get off track. Before I forgot about that one, because that did happen.
All right. I was at the master planning meeting. There was a lot of great turnout, and they're also starting to talk about these meetings on the informal Facebook page. So the Citizens Walker page, people were congratulating the work that was done there and encouraging others to attend, and so they're looking forward to the next meeting. So I think, it's unfortunate that this is the last meeting because we're really starting to gain some momentum, and I know we've struggled with how do we get, how can we better engage the community, and here we are, right at this point, kind of tipping point of engagement, and then that's going to be over. So I don't know, as you mentioned, if there's a way to carry that on, or, how we might be able to fill that space a little bit on a more regular basis. And I did register for MML, and I sent that around, I think, to everybody today, so you could see those expenses.
Good, thank you. All right, Commissioner Gilbert?
Yeah, so I was at the traffic committee meeting. We had a good discussion, I would say. I think we all are in somewhat agreement that something needs to be done on Alpine Avenue, and we're just continuing to work towards what that solution might look like in the future, and especially in the scope of our 2040 master plan. Master planning session, yes, very good, really good feedback all around. It was nice kind of with McKenna to run through all 3 sessions that we had kind of done, because they went through one by one. Each one's in a different spot in the process, but it was nice to kind of see how these things are progressing, and really we're getting so much work done and seeing tangible progress so quickly. It really is a testament to how well they are doing in this process compared to our last experience. So that's a good feeling. The one other thing that happened at the Planning Commission meeting, we did approve DTE to go into what was the Kennewa Early Childhood Center. So you may see some significant changes on that site. So that's just something to look out for.
Mr. Mayor, if I could, I confirm the last work session for master plan will be the 18th of September.
So it'll be that third Wednesday, probably adjacent to the Planning Commission meeting.
Same format, 5 to 7, but it will be here because it will be for the northwest part of the city.
Okay.
Thank you.
A couple things. I have iPads for Elena and Roxanne. Melanie's not here tonight. In my office.
I got mine.
Today?
Yep.
Okay, so I must only have 2 in my office then. They were gonna leave them there. I guess they didn't bring them down.
still in her office today when I went back to pick it up. In Julie's office.
You might have got somebody else.
I don't know. Anyhow, Nancy just said that they're in my office to give them out tonight, so.
Okay.
Whoever needs one or has them, they have their names on them.
Thank you.
Jessica and I will be at, it's the second year in a row they're doing it. Compass is doing a user group conference, and it's September 7th to 10th. So it's really kind of exciting because they're asking for anybody that does have their product to do a hands-on, to learn more about it, to tell us what we like and dislike, and to roll out and come up with ideas of what we all want to see. So I think it's really awesome that a company is looking for your feedback. They're wanting to see, what we like and don't like, and wanting to know what we want to bring into it next. Like when I helped them, I was the one that helped them basically build the boards and committees module that they have. So that will be September 7th to 10th, and Jill will be here at that meeting September 9th. So go easy on her.
Okay.
That's all I have.
All right, mine quickly as I see our city attorney into the room. Remembrance Car Cruise, I won't add anything other than just a very big shout out to the Sobies, to Tim and Teresa. I think saying thank you doesn't do justice for all the things that they do. And we think of the levity and fun we've had with the t-shirt piece with the bear, but when you think of 100% of those proceeds are being donated to the Thin Blue Line, and I know that there is a very significant amount from the Remembrance Car Cruise, their highest total yet. So really exciting to see that continue to grow, and just that community engagement umbrella that we always talk about. I also want to give a shout out. I went to the DDA meeting. I try and make those whenever possible. And I'm continuing to see that formulation of what the future looks like in Standale. But I think in my notes I had written was I just wanted to compliment them that the thinking there is definitely very strategic, and we're not reacting to things. We're trying to get ahead of it. So very grateful on behalf of the commission for that. And then just a reminder, the last thing I have is on the MML registration. After August 30th, it goes up $150 per person, and I think that's a little more difficult to swallow if we knew that it was the amount it is now and we didn't get registered. So if you're going, get it done to save $150. Yes.
One more thing I forgot to add, probably the most exciting thing, is we were notified last week that we received a grant from the MEDC to help us with our Northridge connection up on the north part of the city. So we received a $100,000 grant to assist us with some of the engineering and design on that. It doesn't, only scratches the surface to the total cost of that project, but it's money that we didn't have before. So thanks to our staff and Tim Roz at the right place for orchestrating this. So just got the grant paperwork this afternoon. So good news there.
Awesome. Good stuff. Thank you. Okay. So we are going into closed session. Should I, at this point, I'm going to be high level here, and probably in the future, it's something I should have looked at and made sure I had the exact wording. So I'm going to make a motion, or I'm looking for a motion for us to go into closed session pursuant to Section 8, Section D of the Open Meetings Act to consider the purchase or lease of real property. Do I have a motion?
I'll make motion.
Motion, Commissioner Gilbert. Do I have support?
Support.
Support, Commissioner Glanville. Heard that first. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed? We are in closed session. Yes.
Roll call
Okay.
vote. Roll
Okay,
call.
thank you. This is in the future, I'd need to have something. I got a little sideways, so if you want to go down the way, we'll go.
Commissioner Gilbert? Aye. Commissioner Glanville?
Aye.
Commissioner Heisega? Aye. Commissioner DeShane?
Aye.
Commissioner Kent?
Aye.
Thank you.
There we go. All right. We're good? Okay. There is no other public here for other public comments, so I'll take a motion to adjourn the meeting. Motion, Commissioner support. I heard support from Commissioner Kent. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Meeting's adjourned. Thank you.